Maricha, who was putting forth his best effort to live the new life and practice all moral and spiritual values, cried, "It's immoral, coveting another's wife. She had no business to become his wife. She should have met me first," said Ravana. His first phase of forlorn depression now giving place to levity. Maricha's present outlook did not permit him to accept Ravana's proposals passively. He cried, "You have..." Gotta move. "You have the grace of Shiva on you. You are endowed with eminence and power. Do not cheapen yourself with such adventures. You should not become a subject of gossip in this or other worlds. So you want me to watch indifferently when my sister is hurt and humiliated? I don't need your advice. I only want to help." "In what manner?" asked Maricha, feeling that he was nearing the end of his spiritual attempts and perhaps the end of his life too. "I have a plan to take that woman away, and you have a part in it." Maricha said, "A sort of drumbeat goes within my mind, sounding and resounding the message that are seeking your own destruction and the liquidation of your race. How dare you belittle my own power and exalt that creature who has spared my sister?" Ravana asked angrily, "If I show patience now..." Hold on, I gotta look sprinkles. "It's because I still treat you as my uncle." And Mauritius retorted, "It's on the same basis of relationship that I wish you to save yourself from annihilation. You forget that I once shook Shiva's abode, the Kailas mountains itself. My strength is unlimited, but Rama is one who broke into Shiva's bow, which was big as Muryu mountain. I am still praising him," Ravana said grimly. "It's because I watched him destroy my mother and brother Subayu. I saw Vishwamitra impart to him all the powers in his command, and thus Rama now possesses Ashtaras, immeasurable in power and numbers, and he can face any encounter with assurance. Enough of your rhapsody. I will split you with my sword if you persist, and then achieve my end without your help. That's all." Maricha suppressed his judgment and said, "I only thought of your welfare, which is my chief concern. I want you to live long and be happy." This pleased Ravana, who put his arm on Maricha's sword and said, "You are good and strong, and your shoulders are broad and high like hillocks. Now go and fetch that Sita. Hurry up. And as to your prophecy, if I have to die for it, let it be Rama's arrow that pierces my heart rather than the insidious minute ones from the bow of the god of love. Tell me, what should I do? What is left for me to do? The time when I decided to avenge the death of my mother and my brother, two companions, and I approached Rama in the shape of a spotted deer. Rama killed the other two with the single arrow, and I barely escaped with my life. Then I adopted a new philosophy. Now again, what is there left for me to do?" reflected Marika, woefully concluding that he should rather be killed by Rama than by his own nephew who had just threatened him. Ravana merely said, "You will have to grab her by some trickery. It should be nobler and more befitting for one of your statues, Maricha replied, to fight Rama on this issue and take Sita as a prize of your conquest. Do you want me to employ an army and tackle that mortal? I can put an end to his nuisance for all, once for all. But I do not wish to take that step, as the woman may immolate herself it if she finds her man dead, and the whole plan would be ruined. Maricha realized that this strategy to end Ravana's career would not work. There was no escape for him. Resigning to his fate, he said, "Tell me what to do." Seizing the idea from Maricha's own narration, Ravana firmly suggested, without leaving his own choice, assume the form of the golden deer and draw her out. I'll do the rest. It's only way to get at her without hurting anyone. Maricha agreed. Yes, I'll go this moment and carry out your wishes. But he is fully aware of the conscious consequences that would befall him immediately and Ravana later. Maricha went forth, gloomily reflecting. Twice I have escaped Ravana's arrow. Now the third time, I shall be doomed. I am like a fish in a poison pond. Sooner or later, I am bound to die, whether I stay or get out. Maricha went to Dakana forest in the vicinity of Panchvati. He assumed the form of the golden deer and strutted before Rama's cottage. Attracted by its brilliance, another deer came up and surrounded the golden deer. Sita, strolling in her garden, noticed it, hurried back in the cottage, and requested of Rama, "There is an animal at our gate with a body of shining gold. Its legs are set with precious stone. It's the dazzling creature. Please catch it for me." The fates were at work, and this was to be a crucial moment in their lives. Normally, Rama would have questioned this Sita's fancy, but today he blindly accepted her demand and said cheerfully, "Yes, of course, you shall have it. Where is it?" And he rose to go out. At this point, Lakshmana interceded. "I would not go near it. It may be just an illusion presented before us. It's not safe. Who has ever heard of an animal made of gold and gems? It's a trick, if ever there was one." Rama replied, "Brahma's creations are vast and varied. No one can say that he owns all creatures of this earth. How can you assert that there can be no such creature of splendor?" Sita imposed impatiently. "While you are debating, the animal will be gone. Come please out and see it for yourself." Rama came out of the cottage, saw it, and said, "It's a wonderful creature. Stay here, I'll get it for you." Sita said, "I'll keep it as my pet and take it back to Ayoda when our exile ends." Lakshmana once again tried to prevent this pursuit, but Rama brushed aside his garment. "It's harmless to pursue it. If it is some infernal creature in this form, it will reveal itself when I shoot at it. If it's not, we will take it in act, and Sita will have a plaything. Either way, we can't ignore it. We can't go after it when we do not know who has set it before us. If it's harmless, it will be wrong to hunt it. In any case, it's best to keep away." When he found Rama obstinate, Lakshmana said, "Please stay here. I'll go after and try to find the truth of it." Sita became insistent and said sullenly, "You'll never get it, I know," and turned around and went back into the Matraj, annoyed and irritated. Rama felt sad that there should be such an argument over an innocent wish of a wife. So he had ungrudgingly known her a lot with this, with his. He said to Lakshmana, "Let me go and catch it myself. Meanwhile, guard her." With his bow held ready, he approached the golden deer. His mind did not admit Lakshmana's word of caution. He went on echoing Sita's plaintive appeal and resolved to himself, "She shall have it, and will surely smile again." The chase began. The deer waited for his approach and darted again and again. In the mood of the chase, Rama had noticed how far he had drawn out or how long it had lasted. Forest paths, mountain tracks, and valleys he transferred traversed, trying to keep the pace up with the elusive deer, a blind determination, a challenge, and behind them a desire to please his wife. All these drew him on the splendorous animal receded farther and further. Suddenly it dawned on him that he was dubbed. Lakshmana was right after all. He ought not to have so blindly obeyed his wife. Automatically, his hand took out the arrow and shot the animal, just as Maricha, guessing Rama's thoughts, made a desperate attempt to escape. But it was too late. Rama's arrow was ever reaching its target. Maricha screamed, "Oh Lakshmana, oh Sita, help me," assuming the voice was Rama. After disposing of Maricha in this manner, Rama turned back, rather worried that Maricha's cry had been heard by Sita. Lakshmana will help her to guess what's what's what has happened. He thought, for he admired Lakshmana's sagacity and understanding, but realizing that he had been drawn quite far away from Chavi, Cha, Panchavit, he hurried back towards the cottage. Sita, hearing the cry of Maricha, said to Lakshmana, "Something has happened to my lord. Go and help him. No harm can befall Rama. Be assured of it. One who has vanquished all demons in this world will not be harmed by a mere animal. If indeed, as you think it is an animal, I was an Ashura now finished off, and the cry was false and assumed, aimed precisely at you. This is no time for explanations or speculation," she said. As she was crying, was as the cry was heard a second time, "Oh Lakshmana, oh Sita," and Sita was seized with panic and lost control of herself completely. She cried, "Do not stand there and talk. Go and save Rama. He is the savior and needs no help of others. My respected sister-in-law, wait, be patient for a while, and you will see before you." "And then you will laugh at your own fears." Sita had no ear for the explanation and went on repeating, and go and save him. How can you stay here talking? I'm surprised at your calmness." As Lakshmana kept on asking her to remain calm, she began more and more worked up and began to talk wildly. "You who have never left his side since birth, who followed him into the forest at the moment like this, instead of rushing to his side, you stand there chattering away at me. This looks very, very strange to me." Once again, Lakshmana tried to set her mind at rest. "You have apparently not understood the nature of Rama. There is no power which can reduce him to a cry for help. If Rama was really threatened, the whole universe of all creation would have trembled and collapsed by now, for he is no ordinary mortal." Sita's eyes flashed angry and sorrow. "It's improper for you to stay here with me and talk coldly this way." Strange, strange. Anyone who has been close to my Lord for even a brief moment ought to be prepared to lay down his life for him. Yet you who were born and bred with him and attached yourself to him through everything, you stand here unmoved and unaffected by his cry. If you don't come to save him, there is nothing more I can do, nor anyone I could turn to for support. The only thing left will be for me to build a fire and throw myself into it. Sita's insinuations and lack of trust in him pained Lakshmana deeply. He pondered over her words and said, "No need for you to harm yourself. Only I shudder at the import of your words. I obey you now. Don't be anxious. This very second I'll leave. I only hesitated because your your order goes against the command of my brother. I'll go, and the many gods may the gods protect you from harm. If you don't go, she will kill herself, he reasoned. If you go, she will be in danger. I'd rather be dead than facing such a dilemma. I'll go, and what is destined will happen. Dharma alone should protect her. He said to Sita, our elder Jatayu is there to watch us, and he will guard you. The moment Lakshmana left, Ravana, who had been watching, emerged from his hiding place. He stood at the gate of Panchavati cottage and called, "Who is there? Anyone inside to welcome a sannyasi?" He was in a garb of a hermit, lean, scrubby, and carrying a staff of wooden begging bowl in his hand. His voice, as if old age, his legs trembled as he called again, "Is anyone living in the hut?" Sita opened the door and saw the man. "You are welcome, sir. What do you want?" Ravana was overwhelmed by the vision before him. Sita invited him in and gave him a seat while his mind buzzed with 1,000 thoughts. She should have been mine. I'll make her the queen of my empire and spend the rest of my days in obeying her command and pleasing her million ways. I'll do nothing else in life except to enjoy her company. Ah, how perceptive and helpful my sister has been. Not a word of exaggeration in her description. Absolute perfection. How good of my darling sister to have thought of me when he saw this angel. I shall reward my sister by making her the queen of my empire. She shall rule in my place while I live in paradise with this woman's company." He had already forgotten that he intended to take Sita, the queen of his empire. While his mind was busy with these pleasant plans, Sita was inquiring, "How do you come to find this lonely forest at your age? Where do you come from?" He woke up from his daydreaming to answer, "Well, there is one," and proceeded to give the detailed account of himself in the third person as the mightiest in creation, favorite of great Lord Shiva himself, powerful enough to order the suns and moons to move in or out of their orbits as he pleased. All gods wait upon him to do the slightest bidding of all divine damsels, Urvasi, Til O Tamta, and others are ready to massage his feet and strap on his sandals. He is great to Indra, his capital unmatched, a magnificent city. He commands all the power and wealth and glories of the world. Thousands of women await anxiously for his favor, but he is waiting and looking for the most perfect beauty in creation. He has learned just handsome is handsome in vigor and youthfulness unmatched. I'm going to stop there.